7 o'clock. I'll call this meeting to order. It's the regular city council for July 3rd, 2017. First order of business, the pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, welcome everybody. We hope this will be a very short meeting because there's people that need to get to fireworks and other celebration things, and having a city council meeting the day before a holiday is kind of strange. Anyway, the first order of business we have is the consent calendar. Does anybody have anything that they would like to see off the consent calendar at this point? Councilman Maroney?
No.
Councilman Mitchell?
No.
Councilman Ball?
No.
Councilman Mitchell?
I knew you'd bud.
I know.
No, sir.
The claims are for electronic checks 1849E through 1851E, paper checks 133585 through 133598, 133601 through 133631, 133634 through 133645. Entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar as written.
So moved.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second.
Those in favor of approving the consent calendar, say aye.
Aye.
Next order of business is the open forum. Anybody wishing to bring anything before the council, they can do so at this point. Anybody? The open forum is closed. The next order of business is the mayor and city council reports. I do have a couple things. First off, I would like to just thank everybody for being here on the day before a holiday, and the reason for the holiday is kind of the reason that we're here, is our independence. This is one of the holidays that we do look forward to as a celebration of our independence. Next thing I'd like to bring to your attention is the Night to Unite, which is the night out. I'd call it a celebration, but it's a place to get to know one another and your neighborhood, build neighborhood involvement by bringing police communities together, and to bring awareness of crime prevention and local law enforcement efforts. It is going to be held August 1st, 2017. So that will be the end of, or the beginning of next month. And Breezy Point will be hosting the celebration at City Park right here. So look forward to seeing everybody here. We'll have law enforcement, fire, and emergencies, EMS on display, including the air ambulance. And one of the things that makes Breezy Point stand out is the paramedics that we actually do have on staff here. It's one of the reasons that we are very, very highly respected throughout the entire state. Council members, Councilman Bakken, you have anything to report?
Briefly attended the cemetery commission meeting. Very short. They're going to spruce up the entrance. A third of the niches have been sold, and they intend to plan for the second one after it's half sold out. Cemetery's in good shape, money-wise and people-wise. Thank you very much.
Good. Councilman Ball.
Nothing to report.
Okay. Councilman Mitchell.
Nothing to report.
Councilman Maroney.
Personnel committee, we did meet, but we'll be talking about that later. The other item I'd like to bring up too is the mayor and I and Joe Rudberg had a chance to meet with Sheila Haverkamp with the Bladek Foundation. Bladek, yes. And we were a contributor to Bladek, and Bladek is a entity that tries to grow the economic development within Crow Wing County. So they're not a direct representation of Breezy Point, Cross Lake, Pequot, Brainerd, Baxter. They're a representation of the whole county. And what they successfully financially operate off of, I believe she said, was about 60% of contributions from city entities, municipalities. And what they do is they go out and help business parks develop. They seek grant monies. They do a lot of work to bring business to the area and advertise the facilities that each entity has to offer to them. And again, as where I was going with that is Breezy Point has been a contributor in the past, and about in 2008 we stopped contributing. My only assumption is at that point we were in the economic downfall, and so we didn't see a whole lot of growth, and so we pulled the funding from it. Obviously, with times have changed, economics have been growing, and again, my philosophy, and I wasn't serving at the time, the first person to pull marketing funds for their operation is the first to lose when the economics are down. So I would like to suggest that we start putting that in the finance budget for next year to donate and put forward to the Bladek Foundation, not only for Breezy Point, but for the whole community as a whole on the surrounding areas, and to even ask the council to direct staff to see if we can find additional funds to potentially put something forward this year in the range of maybe $1,000, $1,500. You know, something just to say we're interested. We can't commit a whole lot now, but here's something, and we'd like to be approached for a donation or a request to fund them for next year. I believe they do put requests out in around the July timeframe, so people can start putting their budgets for the following year. And again, with the Bladek, they can help us with business park development ideas and to see us grow with that. And Tom and Joe were there, and if I'm missing anything, please chime in a little bit.
No, I think you covered it very well, and the whole concept of us reconstituting our economic development council or whatever administration is kind of tied to having input from Bladek and moving forward on development of our business community and start growing incrementally our city. So we want to be able to see that. So in the future, we are going to be getting money to them and starting to have a little closer relationship and getting advertising and do some brainstorming with them to get development started here again.
So with that being said, would anybody be interested in suggesting a donation for this year?
Okay, yeah, we can do that at this point, right?
Sure. I mean, we can find the resources. That's not an issue.
Right. So I think what we were looking at was like $1,500 as seed money at this point.
I would love to be able to put $1,500 towards it myself.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
I think that's what we talked about in the meeting. So I'll entertain a motion to start seeding Bladek with $1,500 right up front, and then we can get started on getting some of this activity going.
Also move.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second that.
Okay. Further discussion? Councilman Bakken?
Briefly, I was involved in that 2008 shutdown, and it had something to do with the economy, of course. However, I do remember very well performance from Bladek was virtually nil for the city here. That's another reason why it was shut down. I applaud the effort to reinitiate some contact with those folks, and I, as a councilman, am going to watch them very carefully. We get a wonderful response from Joint Powers Agreement. They're the best thing I've ever seen come down the trail, so I applaud it, I will agree with it, support it, and I, for one, will be watching them very closely. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Ball?
Nothing further.
Okay. Councilman Mitchell? Anything else?
The one thing I'll just add to Gary's comments, Gary 1, was that the one thing that I kind of took away from it too is again, if even though our contributions may not always directly affect what City of Breezy Point sees from a business growth, it's going to affect what the surrounding communities will have for business growth, and therefore potentially put more households here that would increase the tax base. So while it may not be a direct reflection of the business growth here, I think we'll see an indirect reflection with the household growth due to businesses coming to the
I
area.
appreciate the
Right.
councilman's response. Thank
Yeah,
you very
I was,
much.
I was just going to essentially say the same thing, because one of the examples that was brought forward would be if, let's say, a business was aided with the expertise of Bladec for financing, et cetera, and they're located in Pequot. That would bring jobs to the area. A lot of people would actually be building houses in Breezy Point, and they have instituted metrics to be able to quantify how a seed planted over here can actually grow communities around it. And they didn't have that back in those days.
That's good.
So that was, I think, off to,
Yeah,
you know,
and the last
we're
comment
really
too.
impressed with their presentation.
Good, I wish I'd have been there, I really do.
And the last comment I just throw out there too is, and she ranged that they have communities that put $1,000 a year towards them, to I think she mentioned Brainerd or Baxter putting $70,000 a year. We're nowhere near that aspect, but I'd like to be something.
But again, it is looking at the entire county, you know, and
Totally
obviously,
on board.
you know, Brainerd Baxter has the big dog in the fight here, but,
Yep.
yeah. And they have also the more resources than we have.
Sure.
Next order of business.
Call the
We
vote.
need a vote.
Oh, I'm sorry. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Next order of business is the triple slide replacement. The slide out on the playground out there has broken, and given the type of materials it was constructed with, there's no hope of repairing it. And so we're going to be ordering a new one. We have received a quote from Game Time for a replacement. The quote for the slide is $5,100, $5,147.46. And the Finance Committee reviewed that, and we have the funds available to pay for this. And we also recommended establishing a regular line item to put away money on a accrual type basis so that we can have money when playground equipment starts to fail. It's been in there for 20 years, and we can expect failures. We had a slide failure here a couple years ago. So consideration for a authorization to replace the slide from Game Time would be appreciated.
Also move.
Second.
Second. Further discussion, Councilman Maroney.
Hard to imagine that playground's been around for almost 20 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's in great shape.
Councilman Blacken.
No, sir.
Councilman Ball.
No.
Councilman Mitchell. No. All those in favor of replacing the slide for $5,147, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passed. Classification and compensation study. This is kind of Joe put together this rather long memo, but we've been talking about some changes to the personnel policy and compensation policy for a while now. And all of these proposed changes would involve, benefits, pay plan, the union contract for the police, and we want to maintain competitive wage rates for the area. We've had wage pressure from the Brainerd Baxter area, and the city has not necessarily met those wage rates in the past and are seeing increases in surrounding areas, and some have an effect on us. A good deal of pressure to fill these positions throughout the region, which is pushing our labor rates up for most positions. The pay plan has served the non-union employees, but has been getting somewhat out of whack, and it really needs to be reevaluated. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but the Personnel Committee had originally asked the Finance Committee to budget for this compensation study for the 2018 budget. And after further discussion, the Personnel Committee felt that this was something that should be accomplished sooner rather than later. In addition, NJPA will assist the city with this cost up to $7,500 using the consulting firm of David Drown Associates. And they have provided us with a proposal, and you have a copy of that proposal with you. On page 7 of the proposal defines the scope of services, and on page 10 lists the timetable along with the other steps. And with the NJPA contribution, our cost winds up only being $325. So I'll entertain a motion to commence with the study and hiring David Drown Associates to do that study.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, I'll open up discussion, and I will start with Commissioner Maroney or Councilman Maroney to kind of fill us in as this was all being proposed by our Personnel Committee.
I think the mayor did a great job explaining where our stance was, and again, with times they've changed a little bit, we want to make sure that our wages are in comparison to surrounding areas, that we're just not throwing darts at the dartboard and hoping like we're in the ballpark. And having an outside opinion on this would be, I think, a great asset for us to come in. And with the assistance of NJPA, we'll have $7,500 towards it, making our cost $325. It seems like a no-brainer to me, but this is just something that we want to get moving forward with. It'll work with whatever the outcome is with the union negotiations with the police union, so that will work out as it will. I have nothing further to add, but I know
Councilman Ball, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, no, I think that was a good summary of it. I just think it's a great deal considering the cost that's getting covered and what the extent of what they're going to do. And when we looked at what they, a similar company did for Nisswa, I mean, it was just great to see how they could look at, you know, what the roles each person played and how they should fit in so that we're competitive with the surrounding areas. And I just think it's a really good idea, and to have an independent voice to kind of help out with that, I think is appropriate.
Okay. Councilman Baca.
I read it, reread it, totally support it, and my hats are off to the Personnel Committee for their due diligence in this matter. It's very important. And once again, NJPA, where would we be without them?
Councilman Mitchell.
I believe to keep good people, you have to pay them fairly and treat them well. And going through this material, the qualifications of the people that are doing the research certainly seem very good, and I'm totally in favor of it.
I totally agree with all of that. All those in favor of moving forward with the classification and compensation study with David Drown, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We'll move forward. Phone system purchase. First, I thought I had this all kind of figured out. We're in the process of replacing our phone systems. We had failures in the past, and basically the existing system is basically on its tail end. And so we need to replace it. Consolidated Solutions from CTC has been assisting us in the search for a new phone system, and they have basically setting up to work with numerous vendors and have been evaluating all of those. We have reviewed 3 systems to kind of figure out what's available, all of which are internet-based phone systems. The new phone system obviously is going to be, software driven, and it has a lot of features that can be helpful in improving efficiency and routing calls. The police have requested the ability to record some calls, and the 2 of the 3 systems had an all or nothing recording approach, which really did not meet what we wanted. Voyant allows the list to be accomplished in several different ways, and seems to be the best for the application that we have. There's something there, a comment in here that says the phone charges would be 0, no charge for long distance, but evidently there's, Joe, if you want to can you help on this? That's where I got suddenly confused.
Sorry to confuse you. Yeah, I understood because TDS currently doesn't charge us for long distance, that there would be a similar charge system. And after talking with them after writing this memo, found out that there was a charge. And there is some dispute about what the charge would be. Michael and I have talked about it today, but there will be a small charge for long distance calls. Regardless of what it is, we've got to work that through.
Okay. Do we do a lot of long-distance calling, or
Probably,
not much, sure?
probably half of our calls are long distance to some extent.
Okay.
I mean, Pequot's free, Nesswa's free, Cross Lake's free. Outside of that, it's pretty much long distance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm still not used to the dialing area for what's the long distance call and what's not. So we have Resolution 1714 to authorize us to move forward with the purchase of the phone system and related equipment.
Mr. Mayor, if I may real quick, I would like to announce that I will be abstaining from the vote.
Yes.
I do work for CTC. However, if there's any discussion questions, I'd be happy to answer them if you
Yes,
feel
I
appropriate.
realize that. I was kind of expecting you to
Okay.
recuse yourself. But I do want you to be able to answer any technical questions that
Absolutely.
may come up. So I'll entertain a motion for Resolution 1714 to authorize the purchase of the phone system and related equipment.
So moved.
For second.
Second.
Discussion. Councilman Bach.
Done. Been a long time coming. That's my only discussion.
Councilman Ball.
Nope, it looks like the research has been done,
Yeah.
what looks appropriate or best for the city, so.
Councilman Mitchell.
Yeah, I've got a question. There was an estimate of 16 hours to remove the old wire at $85 an hour, and it was said that if we remove the wire, we could save, I think, 12 hours of that. I think Joe said if he got the proper instructions or prints for doing that, he could do it. Is that right, Joe? And
Yeah, if we were given instructions within our capabilities, we could make the time to talk with that.
And do you have a place for getting good instruction for that? Is there?
Yep. A to B, pull it from A to B, number of polls, and I believe the quote is CTC would terminate them then. That's a more timely consuming finite item. The bulk of it is pulling from A to B. If that can be accomplished, that saves a lot of the time, and so we've got the staff available to do that. It's pulling cables from A to B.
Pulling wires is pretty
That's
straightforward.
pretty straightforward, yeah.
It is till you get to the point and say, oh no, they pulled that wire. And that's why I wonder, it's good to have somebody that knows what they're doing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you might have misread. I read it. What the quote was for of the 16 hours at 85 is to actually, I think you're reading as pull out. This is actually to pull new cabling.
Okay.
The old wiring will not be dismantled by Public Works. So it's just more of pulling new wires from A to B for cross connects.
Yes, I did misunderstand.
Okay.
Okay, I'll call the question then. All those in favor of Resolution 1714, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Resolution 1714 is approved with the notation that Michael Ferroni has recused himself. Next item is a kind of a procedural type thing, extension of the preliminary plot approval for Deacon's Lodge, second edition. The subdivision ordinance requires that deadlines must be met on approval of the preliminary plot. Preliminary plot was approved a year ago, and should the subdivider fail to file a final plot plan within 1 year of approval of the preliminary plot, shall result in the preliminary plot approval being void unless extended for 1 year by resolution of the city council prior to the expiration of the 1 year time frame. The developer has requested that we grant a 1 year time frame. The Planning Commission has recommended the extension through their resolution PC 1705. Resolution 1715 has been given to us to approve the extension for 1 year. I will accept a motion to approve Resolution 1715.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion, Councilman Bakken?
None.
Councilman Ball? Councilman Mitchell?
None.
Councilman Maroney?
None.
All those in favor of Resolution 1715, please say aye.
Aye.
Extension is granted. And that should be the end of our authorized, or our agenda items. So at this point, the meeting is adjourned.
Can I have one
Oh,
question?
I'm sorry.
I just wanted
Wait.
to, I was reading that when we get receipt funds from violations for traffic, for drugs, does the city get that total amount, or do we have to share that with the county or
No,
anyone else?
it's shared. We get a portion of it.
Okay.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Just, we get a very small portion. Yeah.
Most of the ticket is surcharges to the state level.
Okay.
So
Bummer.
we don't get a big bite.
Okay.
Okay, meeting is adjourned.
There we go.
Heading for fireworks. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Yeah, there wasn't any fireworks here, so that's good.
Well, the fireworks in Pequot tonight.
Yeah.
So